All right, are we back? All right, we're live? Okay. All right, well... So yeah, I really got to use the bathroom now. I can't imagine why. It's a mystery. Anyway, I'll be back in a bit. All right. By the way, I wanted to mention the Furious Mana joke isn't my invention. The fast mana Furious Mana is a thing Maldhound came up with, and it's a useful distinction. No problem. Stealing jokes? Okay with me. Mox Diamond and Lotus Petal are fast mana, Burgi and Cabal Coffers are Furious Mana, and Gaia's Cradle and Mana Crypt are fast and furious mana. I don't know if that distinction is helpful in terms of deck building. Like, there are obviously different kinds. Like, you play a card like Burgi for a different reason than you play a card like Pyretic Ritual, for example. But also, I wouldn't even call Mox Diamond fast mana. I would call it ramp. I would just call it ramp. Fast mana to me means it's mana that comes out in a burst, and then you have to use it right then on something. And it'll go away at the end of turn. All right, so thank you very much for submitting your deck, Chris, the Nalia deck. And so let's try and build this. So let's go. Oh, I should also take this off the wheel, right? Yeah, Nalia. Where are we? All right over here. So add the starter kit, add the 2-color mana base, switch to types and tags. Now, if we're building a deck that's based around Nalia, we probably want Nalia to survive. Like, I guess it hypothetically doesn't have to. Like, it's not like our deck will just stop functioning if Nalia isn't around, but we might want some protection, so let's do that. Let's add a bunch of ramp, because I can see our ramp is only at 10. We might want more than that, might want less, I'm not sure. And we're definitely going to want stacks. So let's stacks. And I think that's everything. We'll probably want some removal. Let's add some removal. All right. Card draw? Sure. All right. Probably not a deck that I'm going to want Dark Ritual in, so let's take that out. Let's take out a lot of this stuff. So yeah, Galadriel's Dismissal, get out of here. Silence, get out of here. Greaves, we don't particularly need haste, although it is good to protect our guys. It's fine. Imp's Mischief. We don't need the hand disruption, so let's get rid of Duress and Thoughtseize. Then this is way too much removal, and I'm probably going to want the removal to be creature-based. So let's get rid of Path, Snuff Out. Yawgmoth is a cleric. Ooh, that's a nice thing to know. All right. Fell the Profane. Yeah, that can stay here. Dismember, get out of here. Deadly Rollick, maybe. Darksteel Mutation, get out of here. Anguished, get out of here. And Stroke, out. You do want at least one removal spell that isn't a creature that can blow up non-creature permanents, because if your opponent has, like, Torpor Orb, for example, then it doesn't matter that your Skyclave Apparition can hit artifacts because it's not going to trigger. So Fragmentize could be our out to that, or it could be Vanishing Verse, but I probably want both. Let's go to Swords. Let's see. This is not a Tainted Pact deck, so let's get rid of that. Then the stacks. So way too much stacks. What is Yawgmoth even a cleric of himself? Good question. I don't know the lore behind that. I mean, hypothetically, those people were worshipping something, right? Bowmasters is not any of our creature types, so let's get rid of Bowmasters. Card draw, definitely not an Ad Naus deck. Alter the Wretched can go. Archivist stays. Black stays. Bolas' Citadel, maybe. Depends on what our mana values are. Gix is good. Esper Sentinel is just amazing in every white deck, so that stays. Mindblade Render, okay. Forge out. Necros. Let's get rid of the Necros. Peer out. Skull Clamp, maybe. Depends on what creatures we wind up with. Ring, Trouble in Pairs, possible. Timna, excellent. All right. Lands, we're at 32. We're going to need to cut 3 fetches, right? There's going to be 3 off colors. So Wooded Foothills. Heath is good. Tarn's off color, and Misty's off color. Then all the other fetches are good. Then we're at 29 lands, which is still usable amount. I don't think there's anything big I'm overlooking. All right, ramp. So let's see. Hireling, I don't want Grim Monolith. I definitely don't want Heartless Summoning. I probably don't want the colorless ones, so let's get rid of Mana Vault, Liquimetal Torque, Chalice, and Thought Vessel. And then we've got the rest of these. Mox Opal, depends on how many artifacts we have. We probably have enough that it'll still work. Oh, let's get rid of Mind Stone. Felwar, Cold Steel. Okay, that's all fine. Then on to the stacks cards. So we do want Rules of Law. I already know that there are Rule of Law creatures that are in our party, so let's get rid of Archon. Mind Sensor's good. Chains can go. Cursed Totem can go. Dothy Voidwalker's a rogue. Right on theme. Deafening Silence possibly stays in. Doorkeeper Thrall, we're going to have a lot of our own ETBs, so that's out. Drana and Linvala is not any of our creature types, but it is a pretty good stacks card, so I might want it anyway. Eidolon, Spirit, that can go. Elishnorn, gone. Aethersworn Canonist, that's a cleric, that stays. Hushbringer, get out of here. Karn, out. Kataki, out. Linvala, we have Drana and Linvala, so we don't need 2 of them. Null Rod, we're going to have artifacts that we need to activate. Oppo Agent stays. Phyrexian Sensor stays. Planar Void out. Regular Rule of Law out. Sphere, get gone. Spirit of the Labyrinth, get gone. Static Orb, go away. Stony out. Thalia, not our types, get out of here. Tabernacle, obviously out. Thorn out. Torpor Orb out. Trinisphere possibly can be in the deck. Winter Orb or Winter Moon is out. Winter Orb can be in though. And then Toxic Deluge, probably don't want to cast that in a deck full of creatures. And what does that leave our current count at? So our current count is 85 cards. That's going to be reduced. There's a lot of cards that I'm going to get rid of when I figure out what I want less of. Lotho is a rogue. That's excellent. Ranger Captain is not any of our types. And what can it fetch? It can fetch Skrelv, and it can fetch Esper Sentinel, and it can fetch all the moms, right? So just that alone I don't think is reason enough to want it. So we can get rid of Ranger Captain. Yawgmoth was kind of a healer doctor. I think they may sometimes use clerics to represent those before they introduce doctor as a creature type. All right. So the main cards, before we start adding anything else to the deck that I'm looking at as far as cuts go, are Bolas' Citadel might get cut dependent on how high our mana values are by the end of this. Like, we're obviously going to be adding in a bunch of party stuff. So that is one that can very obviously be a potential cut. Another cut is possibly Skull Clamp. We need to see how our creatures break down. So, like, obviously Skrelv and Mom are already Skull Clampable, but not necessarily everything is. Trouble in Pairs might also be a cut. We might have enough good card draw that we don't need it. And in general, I want to slide away from non-creature spells if we can avoid them. This is also a lot of removal, so it's very possible that we'll wind up cutting a bunch of this. Like, we might cut some of these as well for space. Imp's Mischief can vary. Imp's Mischief and Defense Grid are other cards that might just go. What else? We have 29 lands, that's fine. Our ramp is also pretty solid, but I might cut it down a little bit more. And then some of the stacks cards that I'm iffy about are Deafening Silence, Armageddon, and Ravages are not necessarily needed in the deck. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now as far as what cards to get cut. But I don't think I'm going to cut any of them until I start adding in more cards and see where we are. Because I don't want to start cutting basically, if we need the space, then I'll start cutting those cards. But if not, they can stay in. Cut either Skrelv or Greaves. I think they're both fine. Also, we have Mox Opal, so we don't want to cut artifacts if we can help it. All right. So now, normally I would go over here to Scryfall and look at stuff, but if you go to the advanced search in Moxfield, you can add multiple things at once without having to flip back and forth. So I'm going to use this advanced search. The Scryfall search is superior, but right now we can use this for our purpose. So I want Oracle Text Party. I want to see all the cards that say party in them in our color identity. We have 21 results, so that's not much. Okay, Hand Disruption Dude. Archpriest. I'm more looking for creatures. All right, Barakos is good, right? Attacks defending player loses X, and you create X treasures where X is the number of creatures in your party. So Barakos definitely in the deck. Coveted Prize. That can be in the deck. Deadly Alliance. Costs 1 less for each creature in your party. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. So it can potentially cost as low as 1 mana, but it won't always. I'm not inclined to play that. Target creature opponent controls gets -X on ETB, but it's 6 mana, so screw that. Put a +1 counter on it for each creature in your party, so only on it. Nope. 1 less to cast for creature in your party. Enters battlefield, exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until it leaves. Very similar to this. It's better in that it hits more types. I still think I don't want it, because I'm evaluating the cards based on both what happens if we have a full party versus what happens if we only have like 2 creatures that are in the party. And I'm not really interested in playing O-Ring or Hero's Downfall. Enters, target creature gets +1. No. Malakir. All right. Each opponent loses X and you gain X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Now, drain everyone for 4, I'm more inclined to actually want. Although even that isn't great, but if we can find ways to blink this, maybe. It's also cheap at only 2 mana. Equip creature has lifelink if you control a thing, as long as you have a full party, prevent all damage that would be dealt to equip creature. Not really interested in that. Choose target attacking or blocking creature. I already don't care what the rest of this says. Seagate Colossus. Costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party, so it costs a minimum of 3. No. Costs 1 less to cast for each creature you attacked with this turn. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. All right, I would never pay more than 2 mana for this. Oh, it also is just not... Oh, it's not in the party. Its name has party in it. Okay, no. Moving on. Enters battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature in your party. Don't care. Squad Commander, we can have that. Stick Together. Really iffy about this one, but I'll try it. 1 less for each creature in your party. Return target creature card and up to 1 Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, or Wizard from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you get 2... You reanimate 2 things for 4 3 mana. Don't particularly care about that. Creatures you control +1. Spell deals 5 damage to an attacker. No, we can skip that. All right, so that's all the things that say party. Jazal Goldmane is a warrior and a pretty brutal finisher. He is. So back over here. Sure, we can add Jazal Goldmane. I would also like to add Mirror Entity. Oh yeah, we should have Mutavault in our deck. So Mutavault. So what are some of the other ones? Mindblade Render. Dark Conf... Oh, I already have Mindblade Render. Dark Confidant. Get out of here. All right. Can I say or in the types? I don't think I can. All right, so now we do have to switch over to Scryfall. So let's look up. Format EDH, ID, white and black, and then it is either a cleric or rogue or warrior or wizard. So we get 1,000 results. We're going to sort them in EDH rec rank order so that we can actually, have a reasonable shot at having some stuff in here. Glow Rider, possible. Although if I was going to play Glow Rider, I would add Thalia back in, which is maybe what we're going to do. I would be more inclined to go with taxing effects than I would be these Ravages. Actually, I'm definitely more inclined to do that. So let's add Thalia back to here, and then let's add Glow Rider. What type is Mangara? It is a cleric. All right, we're adding Mangara. Mangara the Diplomat. And then what's the other one? It's Vryn Wingmare, but I don't think Vryn Wingmare is in our types, but that's still fine. Vryn Wingmare is what, like a Pegasus or something? Vryn Wing. That's not spelled correctly. Vryn Wing. Pegasus, yeah, all right. Not on that. All right, what else do we have? Mother, we have all these added in already. Not Veto, and I don't think I want Veto. Archivist of Ogma, let's add, we have that in. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card, triggers only once each turn. Don't care. I don't care about OSL Core or Soul Warden. We already have Lothone Grim Hireling. Not playing Car Specs. Fleshbag dies. Spirit, selfless spirit. Sure. All right, what else we have? Rumor Gatherer. Whenever another creature enters, scry 1, second trigger, draw. That's not great. Suture Priest, Soul's Attendant. I don't care about Wayfarer. I don't care about Lazel, even if she helps the Nalia trigger. I don't really care about that. Twilight Prophet might be interesting. Although it's pretty expensive at 4. And it does require... It requires we have the City's Blessing to trigger at all, which is the problem. Yeah, what if Tim is in the 99? It is. Disciple of Bolas. I would need a sufficient number of creatures that I can sack to this. I don't think I have that. I mean, I have the numbers. I don't have the... It needs to be power, right? Draw X where X is its power. Yeah. I don't think we have the power. All right, Rankle. Oh, Deep Gnome Terramancer. We need to add that. Deep Gnome. I would really like to have Stony Silence and Null Rod in this deck if I could find a way to cut all the artifact ramp, but I don't think there's a way to do that. Also, that would mean we couldn't Skull Clamp or Ring anymore, or Skrelv or Lightning Greaves, which is fine. It means also all of our treasures from Grim Hireling and Lotho get turned off. Yeah, never mind. Teshar is a cleric. All right, Teshar. Vargoth's not good. Move on. Priest of Forgotten Gods is fine. If I had Sax Energies, I would use this, but I don't. This is the treasure version of Disciple Bolas. Gisa, Bob. We have Bob. Canonist we already have. I think this might be a deck where we want equipment other than Clamp. I don't think so. I think we can win just on Beatdown. I'll check how many creatures actually are clampable at the end. On to Spirit Dancer. Whenever an enchantment... Okay, right there. We're not going to play it. Ratadrabic. No. All right. White Plume Initiative. I don't think we want the initiative. Let's not do that. We got Jazal in here already. Moving on. I have Censor in here, right? Phyrexian Censor. Yeah. Abdul. Don't need that. I'm not going to play Containment Priest. Remorseful Cleric, I also don't care about. We can move on from there. Dungeoneer, move on. Shadowheart, no. Astarion, too expensive. Alms Collector. All right. Alms Collector. Even Interrupter is interesting. Even Interrupter. Oh, I didn't even put Reprieve in the deck either. Reprieve. Sword of the Animus, Sword of Feast and Famine, Memory Mask. I'm not really a fan of equipment in general in EDH. Feast and Famine is the best one out of that list. I don't think this is a deck that needs that either, though. I have a Brea No Creatures All Eggs deck created mostly from bulk bin draft chaff artifacts. Would love to hear opinions and if you have any suggestions on artifacts to replace the worst ones. Moxfield user Hutter. Okay, so let's add that to the wheel. Brea Critique. Hutter. It is on the list. All right, so we're at 100 cards, but obviously I'm not done adding party members, so let's keep going. I really don't think initiative is the direction to take this. Whenever another creature enters, creatures you control get +1, but that's not permanent. In terms of beatdown, we also don't have Cathar's Crusade in here, but I think that's also fine. I think our beatdown creatures should just speak for themselves or get buffed by Nalia. All right. Tiny Bones the Pickpocket. That requires a lot of things to come together to be good. What else do we have? I guess I wonder if some of the more commonly played cards, you know, like Leonin Arbiter, but we obviously can't run that because we have our fetch lands ourselves. Sanctum Prelate is another one that's sometimes good, but it's hard to hit like all the different numbers. Dawnbringer Cleric is a cleric. I don't think I want that though. I guess would I play it over Skyclave Apparition? Since Apparition isn't a... Nah, I really wouldn't. Lauren also doesn't hit any of the types we want. I think losing the flexibility is the problem. We can't really run... We can't, like, take those cards out for them. Viscera Seer isn't just a wizard. It lets us go deeper with the commander. Not really. We have to have fodder to sack to it. If we don't have infinite fodder, then we just don't get very far. Down heavy. Yeah. Barakos. We already got Barakos. Asylum Visitor, but I don't think we're going to be able to trigger this reliably. If you have the most life or are tied for the most life, draw. That one's questionable. Sure. Preacher of the Schism. I would put this in card draw, I guess. This is basically beatdown because it's draining. Barakos is... You make treasures, so it's essentially Grim Hireling, so it's ramp. Squad Commander is more of a beatdown card than anything else. Coveted Prize is a tutor. And Stick Together is a sweeper. All right, that fixes that up. I still feel like we don't have anywhere near enough party members, so... Jacked Rabbit, don't care about that. Audacious Thief, no. All right, what are we on? We're on 180 through 240 cards down the list. So at this point, we're probably done here. And then I'm just going to take a look at EDH Rec for the rest. Nalia, the Arnise. I'm that strange Imoti guy. If you want to start with my build, it's... Mercenary, 1987. Imoti, Critique. 30-minute, it's called 30-minute Cascades. 30 Mins Cascade. But to be honest, I'd rather see your build as a challenge more than a critique of mine. Okay, so critique plus build. We will get to it. So yeah, 101 cards, we're over the limit. All right, what does... I'm really curious. Yeah, so split up in here possibly. I'm really curious which creatures they suggest to add. Harper Recruiter, yeah, we already looked at that one. I'm not doing that one. I'm not adding random changelings, and I'm not adding initiative guys. So, I do know, yeah, this deck is very susceptible to sweepers, right? And the only answers that we have to it are Reprieve to stop it for 1 turn, Aven Interrupter to stop it for 1 turn. I think the thing about the sweepers is you just really can't play around them, and trying to play these cards like Teferi's Protection and these like 3 mana instant speed, oh, I'm gonna flash this thing in and it's gonna protect all my guys from the sweeper. I think that's the wrong way to go about it, because the times when everything is gonna align perfectly is just not enough. I think rather what you just do is you mitigate the damage. So you can have cards like Yawgmoth where, oh, you're gonna sweep the field? Okay, I sack everything and draw a bunch of cards and then I can just rebuild next turn. I think that's more in line with what you wanna do. By the way, what type is Adeline? Is she a human soldier? Human knight, okay. Mortuary Mire and Witch's Cottage, or however the other black top deck land was called. I don't even think you need that. Oh yeah, Mass Reanimation. That is something we should look at. So, let's see. Return all. Or return each. Creature mana value. I think that like something like this is also a better way to rebuild. So Ascend from Avernus. Ascend from Reanimation. Rally's only 1 turn. Mana value exactly X. Rise Return to the Rank's not on here. Return ranks. Return X creature cards with mana value 2 or less. Oh, so it specifically has to be 2 or less. It doesn't matter how much you dump into X, that's why. Okay, so there's that one. There's Sack Engines. Quick question, Moxfield only. Sadly, I build on Archidect. No links, 1 deck only. You can... It's not Moxfield only, but you have to I have to have a way of finding the deck because YouTube automatically deletes any comment that you put in that has a link in it. One thing you could do, actually, I think, would this get around it? You could just put in the link, but not include, like, the full link. Right? So just have the link, but you're missing, like, the dot and .com. Maybe it won't black that out. Rise from the Dark Realms is always funny if a bit expensive. Yeah, but it's just 9 mana is way too much. I feel like if we can turn a return to top deck into return to hand, we are just getting lots of value. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh yeah, we also need top deck manipulation, right? So we already have all the fetches. I'm not going to play Divining Top. There's a modal double-faced mat. Oh yeah, Agadeem's Awakening. Agadeem's Awakening. We do have to spend a lot on it, but we have to spend a lot on Avernus anyway. And I even mentioned Agadeem's in the original deck critique. All right, where are we? Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it counters, create Inklings. What? Yeah, okay. Rumor Gatherer, I don't think Rumor Gatherer is that good either. Archpriest, no. Jackrabbit, no. Frontline Medic. What type is Boromir? Boromir. He's a human soldier. Aw. Envoy, modified. Okay, this is a bunch of weird stuff. Don't care about any of that. Each creature card in your graveyard that is one of the types has Unearth. No, doesn't matter. I don't care about the extra +1 counter for Lazal, although maybe I should. Also, I imagine Warrior is probably going to be the card type or the creature type that we have the least of. So maybe I do want Lazal. Lazal. What else? You know, as long as we're playing... Oh, actually, I was going to say, like, the tribal cards, but actually we don't have one tribe. We have a bunch of different tribes, so none of our tribal cards that would actually work. Living Death? That's another option. Living Death's hard to make work, though. Mortuary Mire is basically a free raise dead with our commander in play. It isn't, though. Because you're saying, essentially, like, oh, well, we can put a thing on the top and then immediately cast it. Like, that's cute. I don't know how often that's actually going to come up, though. Like, basically, in what situation are we have our commander in play, they kill something else that isn't our commander, and then we are able to fetch it, put it back on the top, and immediately replay it. I mean, it's a thought. There's also just the fact, like, those lands are not... Having lands that sometimes enter tap just sucks, but... Is there a land I could cut for it? Maybe? I'm not particularly a fan of Fell the Profane. Let's move that out, and let's move... I would play Witch's Cottage over Mortuary, because at least Witch's Cottage sometimes comes in untapped. Actually, does it, though? You need 3 swamps, right? Yeah, not even. Imp's Mischief. All right, so let's cut... This deck doesn't require its commander to be in play, so we can cut Mischief, Reprieve. I'm not even that high on Aven Interrupter, but I'll see what our rogue count is at the end of all this. Let's see, Deadly Rollick. I should get rid of something here. Monocolored permanent means this can't kill artifacts. Alright, let's get rid of Vanishing Verse. What is our creatures that can die to Skull Clamp right now? Mind Sensor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11, although to be fair, some of those are creatures that we would never want to clamp. Like, we're not clamping our Esper Sentinel, for example. It's probably still enough that we can play clamp, though. Alright, Bolas' Citadel is pretty expensive, especially if we're running these taxing effects. So let's cut that. And then what else can get out of here? Lightning Greaves? We don't really care about the haste that much, so we can get rid of Lightning Greaves. And then, yeah, okay. What about the stacks cards? Those are all probably fine. And do I want to cut any of the ramp? Probably the diamonds. Although maybe not. All right. I really got to go bye. Well, see you later, Chris. Hopefully you can watch this on record and see the rest of this when you are free. Living Death is usually better for at least one opponent unless you build for it. Yeah, it's like Living Death has the same problem like Zoom has, which is it's really hard to set up situations where it's not punishing you. It makes more sense in a deck that is like intentionally trying to sack a bunch of stuff. All right, so what else are they recommending on Metastatic Evangel? Okay, yeah, because it proliferates all the counters on your guys and is also one of your party types. That makes sense. You do need a full party to get it going, though. But it does make sense. All right. right, meta, static, Evangel. Let's see, Zulaport, no. 8.5 tails, don't care about that. Bygone Bishop, nah. Shay Cormac. Permanents your opponents control lose all their defenses. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes the target of a spell ability you control, put a bounty counter on it. Yeah, okay, no, we're not doing that. Puppeteer, Zoraline. Order of White Clay, no. Each player loses a third of their life rounded up. You draw X and you lose X, where X is the number of creatures in target player's graveyard. Nope. Alright, what else do we have? Preferably, I'd like creatures that overlap on multiple types that are not changelings, but I guess we're probably not going to get that. Alright, so that's all the creatures they recommend. Then there's, like, this stuff. Sure. Makes sense. They're trying to mitigate sweeping. I might go for Flawless Maneuver. I'm not sure. Just because it's 0 mana is something. All right, yeah, let's try that. Flawless. And here's Tutoring. We're not going to play Ritual. Sorceries. Destroy all creatures with no counters on them. That's if you have your party in effect. Also, sometimes there'll be counters on other things. I get why they're playing it, though. Vindicate, Farewell. Utility artifacts, a Skull Clamp. All right, you had Oketra's Monument in your deck. That was a good one. Oketra's Monument is a good one. I really doubt this is ever going to line up. Let's get rid of Aven Interrupter. Top, not running that. Horn of the Mark. They do have Citadel. Whenever 2 more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5. You may reveal a creature from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom, and it's 2 mana. Nah. All right, and then there's all the ones that trigger off of our creatures coming in, right? What are you lacking? What do you think you're missing? What I'm thinking is that, I haven't done the math on this yet, but I'm thinking that we're probably going to want more party members, because we especially want Nalia to be able to cast stuff off the top of the deck. So I'm just adding in, I'm just trying to find as much like additional party members as I can. I also need to break this down into the party types, right? I need to figure out like how many creatures are clerics, how many creatures are rogues, etc. Mana value 3 or less. We probably have most of our guys like that, but not all of them. Felidar, I don't care about this stuff. Is land tax, I don't think land tax is even that good in general. And I wouldn't play it just because I want to manipulate the top. All right, utility lands. So, yeah, Mortuary Mire. I'm not going to run that. Starlit Sanctum. Sack a cleric, gain life. Sack a cleric, target player loses life. Not running that. Not running Bastion. Urborg in here instead of potentially Tainted Field. Sounds better to me. All right. Take that out, add Urborg Tomb. And then Coffers is not too big of an ask when we already have this, but we'd have to cut something else. We also have no way of fetching it, so this would have to be on top of all the lands we already have, not cutting one. All right, what is something we can cut here? We have a lot of card draw. Can Trouble in Pairs go? Or rather than that, what is the least impactful card here that isn't also a party member that we don't want to cut? So Skyclave, Lauren, Fragmentize, we have to keep that in. Deadly Rollick kills anything, keep that in. Defense Grid, possibly. Alright, let's cut Defense Grid. Defense Grid is more for, like, when you really, really need certain cards to resolve, and we don't really, really need our commander to resolve. It's just better if she does. Gotta go, have a good night. See you later, Edward Nigma. Top deck tutors are a thought, right? There's a new one with Spree. Well, we already have Vamp Tutor. I guess it does make sense. But when are we gonna tutor for, like, specifically party creatures, right? Because that's essentially what you're asking. You're saying, like, well, since we can cast things off the top, we want top deck tutors. But if you think about it, when are, like, what party members are we tutoring for? That's the main question. Because I don't think any of the, like, we don't have creature combos in the deck, right? And the stacks cards are not, like, so good that I want to tutor for them. So it's more a question of, like, it is a good thought. I just don't think it's something we particularly want to play. Speaking of top deck tutors, are we playing Scheming Symmetry? Absolutely not. Not any specific ones, obviously, but versatility is great. Sure. We do have to cut other things, though. All right, so I'm thinking we can cut Charcoal Diamond and Marble Diamond. So then I guess if we top decking, we'll play Imperial Seal. But after that, I don't really want to play any more of the tutors. All the other ones that top deck are more expensive than I want to pay for. So I think that's the end of the Nalia. Yeah, that's the end of the Nalia recommendations on there. Hey man, gotta go, cook dinner. I'll hit you up via Patreon about my build. Sure, you can do that. See you later, Waffles. I would totally play Scheming Symmetry. Making deals is a thing. I would not. I do not want to give my opponents access to their best cards or answers to what it is that I'm doing. All right, so now we've got one card missing, so we can either put a card back or find something else, right? Let's just put Citadel back. I think Citadel is just ridiculously good. Okay. So types and tags. So let's sort this by creatures. And then we have 39 creatures, so this is going to take a while to get through. So we're going to want Cleric. Can I sort by subtypes? I can't. Oh, no, I can sort by subtypes. Oh, never mind. So yeah, let's not bother to tag these. So subtypes. Okay, we have 15 clerics. We have only 4 rogues. Where's our warriors? We have 4 warriors, and we have wizards. We have 5 wizards. So we have way more clerics than we do any of the other cards. And another question is, how many cards do we have that fall specifically into one of those categories, right? That we can Nalia cast off the top. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess it would be faster to count the ones that don't match the categories, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we have 30 party members. That's good enough. The 30 party members is good enough. The fact that they're so much heavily on the cleric side, though, isn't. Goddamn expensive deck. It is, but again, you can cut a lot of the expensive cards. So, like, if we look at text, no grouping, sort by price. Just come down here. Why is this on the sideboard? Calculate. All right. 3077 minus 880 for Mox Diamond minus 380 for Scrubland, 130 for Chrome Locks, 120 for the One Ring, 110 for Opal and Ancient Tomb. You've eliminated 6 cards and we're already at less than half the price. So you don't need Imperial Seal either. Cut Imperial Seal. It's not nearly that expensive. Back to the stack, back to types and tags, and back to name. Change the Thalia art to the pretty one. So it defaults to whatever the cheapest one is, according to it, minus if I have any set printings. Switch it to which one? The pretty one, the World Qualifier one. Which one is that? There's a bunch of secret layers. World Qualifier. Oh, this one? The super zoom-in one? Sure. Morphs +1 human, +1/+1 humans, Black Devotion have played other stuff on occasion, much lower power level. All right, well, apparently this is not going to load the new Thalia, so we have to accept that that's not happening. So the main thing I want to do, I think the deck is complete. The only thing I want to do is see if I can shift clerics into the other types. So it must be type warrior or type wizard or type rogue. Would I play any of these cards? Or rather, do I want to? Any of the ones that we're not already running? Not particularly. Just a reminder, your commander does always fill the rogue slot for the party. Oh, it does, right? So you could always be light on rogues. I think, so we have between 4 or 5 creatures of those types. Plus we have Mutavault, plus we have, so that's 5 plus Mirror Entity and Black Market Connections. So we essentially have like 7 of every type at minimum. So then it's just a matter of assembling all of those, and we can assemble them with tutors or whatever else. It does feel light to me. But again, we don't absolutely need our commander to be in play. I don't like that there's no way to reuse Malakir Blood Priest. I mean, okay, there is a way to reuse it. We sack it and reanimate it, but there's not like a lot of ways or really good ways of reusing it. Oh, Barakos is also the card type, so that's 8. I would run the Giant that fetches equipment, Stone Hewer. Definitely too slow for our type of meta, though. Yeah. I don't particularly also just want to play any equipment besides Skull Clamp. If I was going to play more equipment, the first on the priority list would probably be Sword of Feast and Famine. But anyway, I think this is good enough. We've got a stacks plan, we've got beatdown, we've got lots of card draw. Lots and lots of card draw. Actually, what's our mana value distribution? Okay, it's not too bad. What's our average? Our average mana value is... Where is it? Your average mana value of your deck is 1.7 with lands and 2.5 without it. So you're taking 2.5 damage, or you're taking 2-ish damage from Dark Confidant on average, basically. Okay, that's fine. I also can't help but think that there's a combo that I could play here that I'm not playing, but let's see. Almost certainly with Tesharn Yawgmoth, there's some sort of combo that could be included. I wonder if there's one that can be included relatively easily, like if I can just put one card in the deck and add it. So let's go back to Spellbook, find my combos, clear the deck list, add in this, submit the URL, and see what it suggests. So we have no combos in our deck, according to it, and here's our potential combos. Crackdown Construct plus Mirror Entity. That's not really helpful. Approach of the Second Sun with Tutors is also stupid. All right, so most of these suck. Hum of Obedience plus Dothy. Yeah, whatever. We're not running that. Okay, so basically no. All right, so what do we have as far as beatdown goes? We've got Mirror Entity to grow the team, Jazal Goldmane to grow the team. And is that it? Just those guys? And then there's our commander herself. Plus, we can add Metastatic or Lizelle to trigger her more. So that's probably good enough, right? We've got 2 beatdown cards that we can use, plus the commander itself as a beatdown card. And then we can add more to the beatdown in that case. Does my 100 Euro Goblin deck have any chance against this? What's the Euro to USD conversion? Euro USD convert. 100 euros, so $108? Probably not. All right, I think that's going to do it for Nalia then. So let's add this to the decks. All right. Next up, Imoti, Critique, and Build by Mercenary 1987. Okay. "30-minute Cascade." Do I play CEDH at all? Yes. But it's more just about, like, what's around me. So mostly the EDH pods that I can be a part of are high power pods. All right, so this is Imoti by Mercenary 1987. Just be careful that turns don't take 30 minutes and try your best not to die between turns 1 and 5. So the idea behind this deck, I believe, is every single card in the deck costs 5 or more. So Imoti is spells you cast with converted mana cost 6 or greater have Cascade. So the idea is you want every single card in the deck to cascade into something else, and so it's either 6 mana plus cards or it's 5 mana cards that you can cascade into, and the only cards at lower mana values are Up the Beanstalk, which obviously allows you to draw cards, and then Shardless, which cascades, and then they've got Goreclaw in here. But then everything else that isn't a land is more expensive. So Imoti is one of those cards that I've seen before, and I've thought it has a really interesting and unique ability, but I could never figure out a way to build it. Like, because you obviously want to be playing a bunch of things that are high mana value so that you can cascade, but in order to play all of those high mana value things, including Imoti itself, which is 5 mana, you need ramp. And if you're including a bunch of like mana dorks and rocks in your deck, then those are potential cascade hits, which are terrible. So, and I don't think there's a way that you can, like, obviously traditional cascade decks play cards that you can cast for less than 3 mana, but they always have some way of cheating it, like their split cards, like some kind of card that can, it's technically a card that doesn't cost, you know, that costs more than whatever cascade amount you're trying to hit, but you can cast it for less. So cost reduction, split cards, any which, you know, cards with adventure, any which way that you can get around it. Now, the thing is, I just don't know if there's enough cards that can break that mold, like especially when you want the majority of your ramp to be 2 mana or less. I don't think there's a way you can get around it, but maybe we can figure it out. Hey, you caught me trying to add tags. Goreclaw is a non-bow, obviously, but cost reduction. Oh my god, this deck sounds fun. Stay alive and win. Where's the Sky Turtle at? Yeah, exactly. This was built entirely from collection, so a lot of problem solving because didn't own cards. You play Imoti on lower power level and go for max greed and have fun. Yeah, so it definitely sounds like a deck where it's a try to have fun deck and not a we're actually trying to win deck. But let's just examine this as far as what is in the deck, first of all. So types and tags. Are there tags? There's some tags, but there's also a lot of stuff that's untagged. So we'll just view it with mana value. Or maybe card type would be better. Okay. Nissa, it's blows up artifacts and enchantments, basically. Or it makes a big creature. And it's costs 7, but you can cast it for 5. Tameo, tap up to 1 target artifact or creature and it doesn't untap. Exile target non-permanent card with mana value X spells from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. Okay. Ancient Silver Dragon. Draw cards equal to your D20 result. Annoyed Altasaur, so just more cascading. Beanstalk Giant. Yeah, so this is one of the ways that you can try to ramp, but with less. Beanstalk Worm. You may play an additional land this turn. Yeah. Balloon. So yeah, lots of adventure cards. Brinelin. Brood Monitor. Not sure why that's in here. Actually, I don't know why Brinelin's in here either. Whenever you cast a spell with cost 6 or greater, you may turn target non-permanent to its owner's hand. Okay, sure. Conduit of Ruin. Search a library for a colorless creature with cost 7+. Put it on top. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less. Cradle Clear Cutter. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So let me just make a bunch of notes here. So let's see. ID, it has to be blue and green. And then we want it to say a bunch of different things. Either type adventure, or is split, or Oracle prototype, or what are other ways of getting around it? Rooms are not good because rooms don't work if you cast them for free. Although I guess you could just be playing them normally, or type room, or like they don't work as cascade hits, basically. I guess if they're expensive enough and you never cascade into them, then that's fine. Maybe. Or has channel as one of the abilities. Wait, the Tameo doesn't even cascade. What about Summer Bloom? But Summer Bloom costs 2. We're trying to have mana values higher. Ramp. Oh yeah, we also need cycling or cycling. Because something's trigger on cycle. If there's a questionable card, it might be on cost reduction or just what I had. There's cycling cards that ramp. Not a horrible idea, it just needs cards like Beanstalk Giant with cheap abilities. Seems like it could be a Karuga deck. I think the only thing preventing it from being a Karuga deck is Beanstalk, right? Would love to enter a deck for you to critique on Architect. Just search user Edaman and pick one of the 4 that you find most interesting. Architect. User Etaman Dex Critique. Garuga in general is really sus, yeah. But Summer Bloom gets you so much mana it's worth the occasional whiff. I think the whole point of this deck is to not whiff. You know, one of the other things is it doesn't have to be Imoti. You could do the same thing with Maelstrom Wanderer as your commander. But I guess the idea is just keep going. We'll stick with Imoti at least. Actually, that makes me have a question. EDH is commander, has Cascade in the text. Oh, Imoti also cascades. Why did I blank on that? Yeah, so Maelstrom Wanderer is the other Cascade guy, right? And it gives you another color, but... Myriad Landscape's the best land? Okay. Ugh. So what else do we have? Earthquake Dragon. How many other dragons are even in this deck? Defiler of Dreams. Elvish Aberration. Epitaph Golem. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. No clue why this is in here. Errant Ephemeron. Oh, suspend cards. Those are more. Or suspend. Yeah, I don't think you want to play a 4/4 though. Frogahemith. Garruk's Horde. Geode Golem. Is there a reason to play Geode Golem when you're just... like, if Imoti gets killed? Doesn't seem great. Galta, eh. God Eternal Ronus. Really? Goreclaw. Hierophant Biotitan. As an additional cost to cast this, you may remove... wait. You may remove any number of +1 counters from among creatures you control. It costs 2 less for each one. Vigilance, reach ward 2. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Inspired Sphinx. ETB, draw cards equal to the number of opponents you have. Kappa Cannoneer? So yeah, we want cost reduction stuff, so... or Affinity, or Improvise, or Convoke, I guess, or... less to cast for each. This is an actual legacy deck called Mississippi River. Maybe those lands. That's another potential option. Yeah, I've played Mississippi River. I know what you're talking about. The depletion lands. Bad Recursion, because Imoti can get expensive. Blighted Woodland, Finisher. Blighted Woodland's the second. So you want your land, you want the actual lands themselves to ramp. Yeah, that's a possibility as well. The deck, this is the deck where I suggest the Overlord of the Hauntwoods and that one room that has rampant growth on it. Indeed, we will get to those. Okay, what do they have? Impending? Or impending? I'm trying to cover my bases on all the different abilities that allow things to technically be cheaper. Yeah, Mirror Shell Crab, sure. I don't think this is a deck where you're going to be holding up mana a lot, although I guess you are at some points in the game. Merc Fiend, Nazahal. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature opponents control. When it enters, put a +1 counter each other creature. Sage of the Beyond. Oh, Foretell, that's another one. Or Foretell. Sapphire Dragon, sure. Shardless. Thrick. Spells you cast with converted mana cost 5 or greater, cost 1 less and can't be countered. Ulamog, Vorinclex, Skyscraper. Cost 1 less for each modified creature. Has Hexproof as long as it's untapped. I don't know why you would run this. Herd Migration. That doesn't... I don't like the fact this doesn't ramp you. It just goes and finds a land. Search the library for up to 2 basics. Put them onto the battlefield. Okay. Revelation. Plane-wide Celebrant. Spitting. Stolen. Titania's Command. Shared Summons. Epiphany. Memorial. Gilded Lotus. I think by the time you get here, is it really, like... Do you need more mana after that? I mean, I guess you do to cast all these more expensive things, but I just question that. Beginning of upkeep, scry 2. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards on the bottom of your library while scrying, exile that many from the bottom. During your turn, you may play cards exiled with it. Sure. Wizard's Spellbook. I'm not reading that. Okay, a lot of lands, 35 lands. Beanstalk, Storm of Saruman. Whenever you cast your second spell, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. Beginning of combat on your turn, creatures with toughness 4 plus get +2 in vigilance. On with the multiverse and omniscience. Okay. Remember, every card is a card draw plus cascades into another spell, which draws a card, and cascades, which cascades and draws. Is it, though? Because... No, it's not. That's only if you've got Beanstalk in play. You don't always have Beanstalk in play because you've got a bunch of things that cost 5, which means that a ton of times your 6 mana spell that you cast... Oh, wait, I guess no, right? Because Imoti cascades? Oh, yeah, you're right. So you cast Imoti, and then it will always cascade... Well, it won't always cascade because you have a Goreclaw in your deck, but putting that aside, if you didn't have Goreclaw in your deck, it would always cascade into Shardless, which would always cascade into Beanstalk. So yes, you're correct. Keep forgetting that Imoti itself has Cascade. EDH, ID, blue-green. Blue-green. Cascade. CMC less than 4. That's not actually cascading. That is a land, that's a land, and the TARDIS. So Shardless is the only thing that cascades. Okay. Well, I like the idea here. Let's fix it. So the only thing's preventing you from playing Karuga right now is Beanstalk. Is Beanstalk the best thing that you can get that's that cheap? It seems like it. Just everything you cast, you always draw a card. However, so the Shardless Agent is not really necessary, right? Because if you didn't have it, or Goreclaw, you would just... Imoti would just always cascade into Beanstalk, right? But if you have the Shardless in your deck, that means sometimes you'll cascade into Beanstalk, and then you just have a Shardless in your deck that doesn't cascade into anything. So why have Shardless at all? So that sometimes you can cast Shardless earlier in the game, but you're still not doing anything with it until you get Imoti out. All right, I'm gonna duplicate this deck, and then... So, Imoti, Celebrant of Bounty. And then I'm just gonna cut... Because I'm going to have some of these cards as baselines. Update to cheapest. And then let's just cut, like, all the things that I don't care about. I don't know. Maybe, would it be easier to start from scratch? It probably would be. All right, let's just do that. This Imoti art sucks. Switch printing to... this one. Didn't own Apex Devastator when I built this. Beanstalk is absolutely mental here. Karuga is so much worse than cascading into Beanstalk. Built this after it was banned in Modern because I was like, man, that was nuts. Can I do it in Commander? Okay. All right, so first of all... All right, starter kit, boom. We're going to be cutting a bunch of these because they don't fit what the deck is trying to do. What if we just cascaded into the One Ring? Would we draw fewer cards than if we hit Beanstalk? Probably, I think, right? And then, is there anything else from this list that I want? 2-color mana base, I want that. And then... I guess nothing else, because mana value is going to be a problem here. Karuga is also such a provocation for everyone to murder you. Basically, if... So it's Beanstalk or Karuga. You can't play both. Did you search for cycling cards as well? Yes. All right, let me... Okay, so let's just cut all this stuff. Can't run this. We can technically run Force of Will, although we never, ever want to cascade into it. So... Get rid of that. And then Lorien Revealed is actually fine. That's one we can keep. So Remora, Ristic Study, Library, One Ring, all those go. We get rid of this, we get rid of this. Get rid of basically all of our ramp. Yeah, cut all this stuff. Hey, we finally found a deck that doesn't play Sol Ring. Rift, Mystical Tutor. And then we don't want any fetch lands at all. Gaia's Cradle, this deck definitely doesn't want that. Minamo maybe has a use. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, wait. What am I talking about? Of course we want fetch lands. I don't know why I just brain farted into thinking we didn't. We absolutely do. All right. We just don't want certain ones of them. So Mesa, Bloodstain, and then what's the last one we don't want? Marsh Flats. That's the other one we don't want. Okay. But we're probably going to want to change a lot of these because we're going to want to be playing lands that help us get to where we need to go faster. Okay, so Up the Beanstalk is our only cheap spell, and then we're not going to play anything on 1, 2, 3, or 4. Karuga's like a declaration of, you will not beat me in the long game ever, and also I am totally defenseless right now. You know what land this deck wants? Okay, so Advanced Search, let's go and look at Depletion. Okay, so Hickory Woodlot, Surprising Scary. Although, are those good in the long run? Like, it's not like, oh, we cast Imoti and then boom, we're winning the game now. We still have to, like... We still have a bunch of expensive things to cast. So maybe we don't want those. Yeah, I actually think we don't want them. I was also considering, like, City of Traders as another option, but I don't think we want that either. Where'd that Surprising Scary go? Did I not add it? Oh, no, it's over here. Okay. Would Terrain Generator be useful? Yes. Although we need more basics for it, right? So we've got one search for the cheaty times, and we need this search to specifically be value is above 4. Okay, almost 200 results. And then we need another search for EDH, ID, blue and green, type land. And then in here, we want our lands to produce more than one or to fetch out more than one land. So how are we going to do that? We can do storage counters. We can do Because I don't think we want the literal depletion lands that actually run out. $464 is a lot of lands to go through. What is a way to narrow this down? Oh, do I not have Yavimaya in here? I don't. Yavimaya, Cradle. Okay, so we're gonna need to make room for the lands if we're doing this. So let's see. Easiest ones to get rid of are Botanical Sanctum, Dreamroot. That's actually good because this is probably going to come in untapped basically forever. Forest Island. Oh yeah, get rid of Cradle. Manamo is also probably a land that we don't care about, so get rid of that. Reflecting Pool can go, I think. Urza Saga has literally nothing to fetch, so we can get rid of that. And Waterlog Grove can go, and so if we have terrain, the problem with Terrain Generator is we need a ton of basics to make that work. Temple of the False God, yeah. So there's Temple, let's just start adding stuff. So Temple of the False God. Do we actually want this? I guess we do. Because I'm just thinking of when we cast Imoti, right? Like, if this is our 5th land... We need how many lands? 5? Yeah, okay, so... So we can't cast it regardless until we get there anyway. But there's times when we're going to have fewer lands, and then we need to tap to, like, ramp off of our stuff like Beanstalk Giant and whatnot, so I actually don't think we want it. Let's see, there's also Untitled, but that also has the same problem of not being able to tap at certain times. Urzatron lands? How are we ever assembling all 3 of them? Like, I highly doubt we're ever gonna, like, luck into all 3 of them. There's also a land that phases out a creature on ETB that you can put into play from your hand for 4 mana, which might be a slightly useful interaction for the deck. There is that one. I forget what it's called. Could slap in Planar Nexus to help. But you're also having lands that are colorless, right? Like, we still need to have dual lands. All right, 464 is way too much. What can we... I guess we're just going through it all. All right, EDH Rec. Tower, got that, got that. So Myriad Landscape, search your library for up to 2 basics that share a land type and put them onto the battlefield. We're probably gonna have to I'm gonna have to radically rethink the dual mana base that I have here. Myriad Landscape. I know there's a storage land that we can get to eventually. Can't play Urborg. Technically, War Room. There's going to be a lot of times where we've got nothing to do early on. So having lands with utility abilities is a potential option. But I don't think War Room's the one we want, but it's possible. Let's just add that. War Room. Hinterland, we're not even going to run that. Buried Ruin, no. Mosswort. Okay. We have a lot of downtime before we actually get going, right? I don't like lands that come in tapped, but if we don't have too many of them, this could be okay. So this is land. This card also cheats stuff. I'm probably going to have to cut a lot of these. Like, Reflecting Pool is going to have to go. We're going to have to lose... Dream Root. Bark Channel. Because we're going to need to have more basics. Probably something like that. Hopefully we don't need more. We might need more, though. Exotic, da-da-da. Cavern, Breeding Pool, Ancient Tomb. Can't get rid of that. Yavimaya Coast. Are we just, like, cutting... Actually, let's get rid of City of Brass and Mana Confluence. All right. We totally want False God. The situations where it actually bites you in the ass are going to be so incredibly rare. It's just free ramp in the most mana-hungry deck of all time. I can think of a lot of situations where it bites you. It's your third land, and you need to ramp, and you have cards like Beanstalk Giant, and it doesn't tap for any mana. It is absolutely going to bite you in a ton of cases. Terrain Generator. You may put a basic land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, the problem is we're not going to be able to run anywhere near enough basics. We would need essentially every land in our deck to be basic, or, you know, a huge amount of them. We just can't run that. There's also what's it called? Mage Ring Network. So we can storage counter this. And just fill up, like if we have nothing else to do, we can just fill up counters on it. You can, in fact, run mostly basics. I don't see how. That would mean, if we're running mostly basics, then what I would think that would mean is we're running almost all forests with a handful of islands so that all of our green ramp can go fetch the islands. Horizon of Progress. So this is the one that you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah. Nothing is stopping anyone from running mostly basics in 2-color decks. In this particular deck, possibly. I'll reevaluate. I need to see how many land fetching things we can play. Because if it's like just the Tanuki and Beanstalk Giant, that's not enough. But if there's enough of them, then it's possible. Utility lands are in high demand. Jungle, Basin, and Coral Atoll, I don't think you want those either. Those don't really help. Like Simic Growth Chamber, not really a point. All right, Blighted Woodland, search your library for 2 basics. Technically ramps you, I guess. Blighted Woodland. Croson Verge. This has to get a plains though. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Oh yeah, these lands. I think they both suck though. Seagate and Turntimber. Yeah, I don't really want either of those. Castle Garenbrig. On curve doesn't work because we still need blue, so it doesn't actually allow us to get anywhere, but it does allow us to get somewhere later in the game when we've got more expensive stuff to cast. Castle Garenbrig. Not doing Urzatron, there's no way, and it's gonna be too many colorless lands in the deck. Cycle lands? No. You're going to get mana screwed very occasionally if you run mostly basics in 2-color, but that's Magic. Limited is playable at all because you can, in fact, run mostly basics in 2-color. You're talking about wildly different situations, though. Like, 100-card deck increases variance. 99-card deck. Shifting Woodland. Seems like an easy enough inclusion, although I don't know what we'd do with it. Nah, I'm not gonna bother with that. Riptide Lab what type is Imoti? He's a Naga Druid. Okay. I don't want one-off effects like Crystal Vein either. Terrain Generator is the only maybe. Terrain Generator will come back into the deck if I can figure out if there's enough ramp cards that we can run with this restriction that we can actually hit every single time. All right. Or that we can, like, reliably hit. Disciple of Frailes. Gates of Madara from your hand onto the battlefield. So it sort of ramps itself. Well, it sort of ramps you if this is the last land that you need to play. Sure. Talon Gates. Is Majoring Network really the only storage land? That can't be. There has to be another one. So there's that one. Crucible the Spirit Dragon, but you can only use it on dragons, right? Yeah. All right, we're getting to the dregs here now. Talaria West, if there is a land you really want to find. I don't think there is, but that's a good observation. What land would I really want to find every single game? I don't think there's any one of them that I would. All right. Present of Progress, we got that one already. Trenzalore, remove 12 counters, go get Time Lord, or draw if you have Time Lords. Okay, no, not that one. Were those really the only storage ones? Storage. There's these ones that come in tapped, and then you have to add counters to them before you can even get mana out of them, right? There's those ones. I think that's going to do it for our land search here. New nickname for the deck, the Dregs of Mana. All right. And we do need to hit, like, lands basically every single game. So even this might not be enough lands. All right, so let's think about, before I do the Scryfall search and look that over, what is all the things we need to do? There's Beanstalk Giant. There's, what is it, Greater Tanuki? Is that the card? Yeah, okay, so Beanstalk Giant, Greater Tanuki. Moldering Gem. This costs a total of 9. not wildly different. It's true if you drew 3 forests and an 8 forest, 8 island deck, your next land has a 8 of 13 chance to be a land. And if it's 20 forests and 20 islands, it'll be a bunch of math. All right, well, I need to see more than these 3 before I'm willing to switch to a bunch of basics. All right, what do we have? There's the affinity stuff, which is probably not going to work. Shark Typhoon, no. Affinity for tokens. Lorien we've got. Beanstalk we've got. Virtue of Strength. Return target creature or land from grave to hand. Don't care about that. Virtue of Knowledge. Copy target activated or triggered ability. You may choose new targets. So if you have enough mana, you can, like, what? Crack one of your lands? But if you have enough mana to do that plus this, then you should have enough to just cast Imoti. So I don't think that works. Commit to Memory. I don't want to play that. Let's see. Step Through. No. Ancient Stone Idol. Spectral Deluge. Return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is your islands. Draw 2, exile this with 3 time counters on it. So sorcery in your graveyard. All right, Sky Turtle. All it does is bounce a creature, which I don't really care about. Pervious Worm, Kraken. All right, Sapphire Dragon we can actually run. So Sapphire Dragon, and then there's Mirror Shell Crab. Mirror Shell Crab. I have learned that the insta-keep hand in this deck is a 7-land hand. Is Cascade a triggered ability? Yes. Oh yeah, what's the worm that explores? Well, we'll get to it. And the prototype Clear Cutter Pathway or whatever. We'll get to all of those cards. Exile target creature from your graveyard until you may cast it. No, we don't care about that. Return target creature to its owner's hand. All right, bouncing a creature for 2, which is also the same as the Sky Turtle. But the Sky Turtle we lose. The Sword Coast Serpent we can cast later. So, all right, Sword Coast Serpent. Kraken, 1 less for each snow land you control. Enters the battlefield, blah, blah, blah. No, don't care about that. All right, Prototype Guy. As a copy of an artifact or creature. Nope. Foretell. Generous Ent. I don't think we need that. Stormkeld Vanguard. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Absolutely. Stormkeld Vanguard. Puriosaur, no. Monstrosity of the Lake. Enters... Oh, it just has island cycling. Okay, moving on. Improvise. Cycling. All right, there's the Tanuki. Convoke. Choose one or both. All right, Cradle Clear Cutter. So Cradle Clear Cutter. Repudiate Replicate, which is stifle or make a token. No. Scry 1, then draw a card. Young Blue Dragon, sure. Young Blue. Beanstalk Worm, that's it. Beanstalk Worm. Put 2 counters on a thing. No. This is a no. That's a no. Counter target activated or triggered ability from a non-creature source. I can't think of enough things that I would want to do that to, where that would matter. You may cast instance or no, okay, Convoke. Convoke's probably the worst one I could have picked. Owner of target attacking creature you don't control. No. Mirror Crab got that. This one with Convoke. Let's move it along here. Hulking Metamorph could copy an opponent's Mana Dork. Oh, can it copy? Hang on. There's a copy of an artifact or creature you control. No, it can't. All right, Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Mirror Room, Fractured Realm. I don't care for that one. When you cycle this, you may search your library for a basic land or desert, put it onto the battlefield. All right, Chefet Monitor. Let's see, let's add some more forests. Greater Sandworm, Elvish Aberration, Prototype, blah, 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 cycling, basic land cycling, suspend for 6 turns. Draw 2, ditch a card. It's kind of the same thing as the Young Dragon. Sure. Overlord of the Flood Pits. Improvise. You may have this enter as a copy of any creature. No, don't care about that. Don't care about that one. Holy Panglacial. It's not good, but funny. Sailor's Bane. Cost 1 less to cast for each card you own in exile, and in your graveyard, that's an instant sorcery or adventure. Bottomless Pool Locker Room. No. Avatar of Growth. ETB. Each player searches their library for up to 2 basics and puts them onto the battlefield, and it costs 1 for each opponent you have. Oh. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent you have, so it costs 3. Enters, each player searches for 2 basics, puts them on the battlefield, shuffles. Absolutely. All right. Avatar of Growth. One less for each creature that attacked this turn. No. Not that one. Arcane Proxy, I don't think is going to be a thing we're going to use. Forest Cycling, Forest Cycling. Which is store card in your graveyard. Nope. Search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap Spring Mind. Spring to Mind. Destroy target creature with flying. What has Sud done? Return target instant or sorcery from your grave to hand. Tap 2 creatures. No. We did, not this one, but we don't want it anyway. Central Elevator Stairs. That can be gotten with. Humans you control get indestructible. Reach Trample. Up to 2 creatures get pumped. Pumped. Give Take. Moldering Gym did that. Meat Locker. Not doing that one. Convoke. Affinity for artifacts. When you unlock, manifest, whenever creature, blah, blah, blah. Nope, not that one. Target creature you don't control with mana value 3 or less to its owner's hand. This one's a sorcery, and the creature's not as good. The Sword Coast Serpent's an instant, right? Yeah, okay. Probably at the end of what's actually going to be usable. But it's not that many cards. We may as well go through the whole thing. All right, so that's that. Now we need to tag all of these. So this is ramp. This is, I guess, a cantrip. This is ramp. It's card draw later, but it's mostly ramp. So let's just say ramp. This is a bounce spell. This is a removal spell. Chefette's a ramp spell. Sapphire Dragon is a counter spell. Counter spell. Overlord of the Hauntwoods is ramp. Overlord of the Flood Pits is filtering. Mirror Shell is a counter. Tanuki is ramp. Clear Cutter is ramp. Beanstalk Worm, technically ramp. Beanstalk Giant ramp. And Avatar of Growth ramp. Okay, so we have 9 ramp spells, in quotes. And not all of them fetch basics, though. So there is Avatar of Growth, Beanstalk, Tanuki, Gem, Chef at Monitor, Spring. So 6 of them fetch basic lands. And among our lands are also Myriad Landscape and Blighted Woodland, which also fetch lands. I think I'm fine cutting Mosswort Bridge for another forest. So we have 8 fetchable lands and 8 things that fetch lands, although 3 of them fetch 2 lands, not 1. We also have just straight up fetch lands, but these can fetch Breeding Pool and Trop. So it's a little different. I imagine if I go to EDH Rec, any Imoti deck I look at will not be built like this, but it's still interesting to think about what if we go there. I think this deck does want to play Karuga, even if we can't use it as a companion. So that is card draw. All right, and then, I don't know, when staying with the theme, let's just play all the Cascade stuff. So Annoyed Altasaur, Apex Devastator. So ID, and then we want Cascade. That doesn't work. Sweet Gum Recluse is not very good. Neither is Sakashima's Protege, but I don't know. Sakashima's Protege. Sweet Gum. Maelstrom Colossus? Ugh. Once you start getting up to that much mana, I really want my spells to do something better. Heralds of Zinch with flying. Oh, but it's 5 mana, not 6. Okay. And then Ingenuity Engine, second artifact, return target artifact you control this owner's hand. No. Can confirm EDH Rec does not know my mad science experiment exists. Well, just because that's the case doesn't mean that we can't find weird Imoti stuff anyway. So let's Imoti. All right, so we're going to ignore everything that is not, you know, what we're trying to do. Another thing that I'm curious about is if there's like a 4 mana card that we can cascade into that's better than Beanstalk. All right, what do we have here? Oh, I suppose also this deck is going to have a bunch of expensive stuff in it, so one of the things we can do is Last March of the Ents. Also, Galta and the newest Galta, Stampede Tyrant, and Selvala's Stampede. So we want ways of cheating stuff in because we've got lots of expensive things to cast. All right, let's see. So yeah, we're ignoring all the tiny stuff. Enters in the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 6 or greater, you may return target on the permanent to source hand. No, I don't want that. Hullbreaker Horror, on the other hand, And Terracodon. Bane of Progress. 100% having that in the deck. Hullbreaker, we can't do any loops with it because we don't have Sol Ring or anything. And we're probably not casting many cheap instants, so it's probably not actually very good. Terracodon, on the other hand, is fine, but also not great. Bane of Progress is just, like, better than this. So let's not do that. All right. What else can we run? Null Drifter. Ooh. Null Drifter. How did I completely overlook Evoke? So CMC is 5+ Evoke. Regular Old Mole Drifter. Wave Sifter, no, and I don't care about the other ones. All right. I guess Aether Snipe. If we're ever casting this, like, so the thing I'm thinking of is, like, what if our opponent has, like, a Rule of Law, right? We need a way of getting rid of it. But if we're ever in a position where we're casting this, we're then not doing anything else for the rest of the turn. So it's irrelevant. Nezahal, yeah. Nezahal. Consecrated Sphinx. I was just thinking of something else. What was it? Kogla is when it attacks, destroy something. When it enters, you fight. There's also that 10 mana dinosaur that just, like, fights everything. That's another option. We should play Commandeer, or we could play Allosaurus Rider. I don't think Allosaurus Rider does anything for us. Commandeer is a card that technically, yes, we can play, although I think, looking at the makeup of our deck, I think it's going to be tough to have double, like, 2 blue cards in our hand. Anyway. Meteor Golem. Oh yeah, Cityscape. Like, how expensive can our cards be, I guess is the question. Cityscape Leveler. Kodama. Kodama's good, because that allows us to pick up our Cascade stuff and Cascade again. Kodama is, which one is it? Of the East Tree. We can technically play Craterhoof as well. Do we want that? I think we don't care about that. I think we care about more just having, like, big creatures in general. In particular, I'm looking for creatures that have some sort of staxing effect or removal. Like, by the time we're getting to this huge mana barrier, we want things that are going to, like, really help us go off. Nyx Bloom Ancient is interesting. Nyx Bloom Ancient. Helps us cast everything else. I don't think Omniscience is where you want to go with this deck. Each creature, your opponent's control toughness X or less. I don't care about that. AC, sure. AC and Tatiova. Tatiova. Cast a spell for each opponent. Choose a creature they control. Create a token that's a copy of it, except the power and toughness is equal to total power, and the toughness is equal, and it's a colorless Eldrazi. Nah. Sublime Epiphany. This is a deck where I really don't think we're going to be holding counter spells up, ever, except in the early game before we get Imoti into play. So, we're better off playing more main phase. This one less cast. We looked at that already. Green Castle, we have that. Natural Natural Reclamation? What is that? Cascade, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Well, we don't want 5 mana Cascaders because the only thing that cascades at 5 mana is Imoti, and there's only one thing it can grab anyway. So this will never cascade into anything. Unless we're casting this instead of Imoti, but why would we do that? Nazahol have that. Void Winnower, I did think about that. Void Winnower is just very expensive though, but it's fine. Void Winnow. Got last March. Season of Weaving. Draw, choose a thing, create a copy, return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand. Mass Bounce, you say? Mass Bounce, you say? That is another direction we can go in, because presumably by the time we actually get all of our stuff going, we're like way behind on the board. So, Season of Weaving. What other big bounce stuff can we cast? Let's see. CMC is 5. How is it worded exactly? Return each. Return each. And I want to say permanent. This is the only one that does permanents. All the other ones are only creatures. Huh. All right. Urban Evolution. Not really. All right. Search your library for 4 basics. Oh, hang on. You may pay 4 rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Search your library for up to 4 basics and reveal them. Put one of them onto the battlefield tapped under an opponent's control if the 4 was paid. Put 2 of them onto the battlefield tapped under your control and the rest into your hand. That works. Verdant Mastery. That is one angle that I didn't take, which is rather than pay. Rather than pay. Counterspells play badly with Cascade. Do we have a counterspell in the deck? I don't think so. We have creatures that have counterspells attached to them, like Mirror Shell Crab. Rather than pay. Commandeer, Gush. What's the other side of this? You may put any number of lands from your hand onto the battlefield, then if you control 8 or more, technically works if you've got a land to play. Jadzi? Jadzi it is. Verdant Mastery, Dream Halls. Ooh, Dream Halls would be really good in this deck. Dream Halls. Alright, if an opponent had 2, blah, 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 Summoning Trap. Okay, that's the end of that. Without paying. That's the other way that it's phrased. Da-da-da. Cascading into this is awful, so not BTL. It's probably going to be it for that. I don't think we have the spells for Arcane Proxy to ever really do anything. And we're not casting it for 3 anyway. Alright. Dream Halls is a cheat card. And what else do we have untagged? Tatiova is card draw. AC is AC in here? Verdant Mastery. Ramp. Season of Weaving, I would say, is mostly a sweeper, if you were going to count it as anything. And then there's Cascade, Cascade. Null Drifter, that's card draw. Not really, though. I would say this is more of a cantrip. If the card only draws 2 cards, I'm not really counting it as card draw. I think I have the same... Do I have the same thing for Null Drifter? Yeah. No, I don't know. Fine, let's count it as card draw. Kodama, East, Jadzi. So this is technically ramp, but like barely. You'd be surprised how quickly I go from being behind to being the arch enemy if Imoti resolves, but I love the deck because it takes you into the wild and wacky world of Magic text. You have the 7 mana modal double-faced cards, maybe something like Mystic Confluence. I don't like Mystic because it can only bounce creatures. The 7 mana modal cards are just bad. I don't think I would ever want to be in a situation where I'm casting Seagate Restoration or Turn Timber Symbiosis. Turn Timber Symbiosis, maybe. That's like a little bit more defensible, but Seagate Restoration, no. I guess Turn Timber could be good, but I just don't like the look at the top 7, hope you don't brick. Like, basically, if you're casting Turn Timber Symbiosis, it's because you have literally nothing better to do. But that could be fine. All right, how many cards are we actually at right now? We're at 77. Let's see. So I added additional land adding stuff. So Forest could be fine. Let's see. Is there a way that I can cut most of the non-basics and replace them with basics and have Terrain Generator in here? I'd have to cut basically all the non-basics, like almost all of them, so that I would always have basics in my hand. I just don't think it's worth it. All right, that's probably fine. So we have like... I'd have to count it, but we have something like 9 or 10 cards that either go fetch lands or that allow you to play an extra land. So with 9 basics, I think that's fine, and 38 lands total, that's probably fine. What else are they recommending? Predation? No. Turn all non-permanents in owner's hand. If you return 4 more non-token permanents you control, you may put a permanent... Alright, so we're not doing that. Unexpected results. That's interesting. I think... So if we hit a land, that's fine, because we just want to do that. And if we don't hit a land, most of our cards are powerful enough that we wouldn't mind probably just casting whatever. So yeah, unexpected results. This is mostly a cheat spell, so let's categorize it under that. What a great find. All right, what else can we do? I don't think we want extra turn spells, although Temporal Mastery, sometimes it's just an Explore, so that's fine. Temporal Mastery. Like, if all this card does is Explore, we're good with that. Oh yeah, Miracles. We didn't do Miracles. Miracle. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Devastation Tide's really the only other one that I would care to maybe cast. I probably don't want to, though. Okay. Da-da-da-da. The only card I can think of offhand that I would care about cascading into besides Beanstalk is probably just like the One Ring, and even then I think Beanstalk's probably better in this deck. I'd have to see how it plays out, though. Would you want something like Shardless? So they had Shardless in the original, but I don't think you want that because the only time you're ever cascading, the first time at least, is when you cast Imoti. And why would you want to cascade into Shardless and then cascade into Beanstalk if that... like, basically, if you have Shardless in the deck, that means sometimes you can cast Shardless on 3 and go get Beanstalk. But what it also means is that sometimes you'll Imoti into Beanstalk and not Shardless. And then when eventually you do find Shardless Agent, it's a dead card. So I don't know if the trade-off is worth it in that case. What do you think, Merc? You have more experience. Undaunted, that's another one. Return up to 2 target cards from your graveyard to your hand. Undaunted, that's another cost reducer. Let's see, return all non-lands. So this costs 4. I still don't think I want to use it most of the time. It's a possibility, though. Coastal Breach. Sweeper. So there's times where it's going to be like turn 4 and you don't have anything to do, so you just go bounce everyone's stuff back to their hand. It's kind of like casting Time Walk. Unexpected results is 4 CMC. Oh, right, it is. Yeah, right, we can't play it. You are correct. I got tunnel visioned on that one. What are other mechanics that allow you to cast stuff for cheaper that I haven't gone through yet? Phyrexian mana? I can't think of anything that we can cheat besides Nissa. Alright, so that's it for EDH Rec. I like Shardless because it potentially gets me a creature with Imoti and Beans, but it's an easily cuttable card. Sneaking cards onto the table while nobody's looking allows us to cast stuff for cheap. Discover? What about Discover, though? Because it's just an alternate form of Cascade, right? I'm trying to think of other abilities like Evoke, like Adventures, where the cards are technically 5+ mana, but we can cast cheaper versions of them. Well, you know what? List of MTG mechanics. We got a lot to fill out. We have 20 more cards to add to this deck. I wonder what the math is on this. So we want to hit 5 mana by turn 4. Assuming we have at least one of these 3 to 4 mana ramp cards. So it's basically like, how many lands do we have to play to consistently have 4 lands by turn 4? So right now we have, in a 99 card deck and 38 lands, we're going to see our opening hand plus an additional 4 cards from drawing. What are the odds that we hit 4 out of that? 67%, which is not great. All right, so let's say we need to hit 5 total, but we add in all of the ramping cards to that equation. So we add all 10 of these. So we say we have 48, essentially, right? We have 70% chance to hit. Okay. Is that good enough, or do we need more? Offering? Alright, now. Fuse? That would have been covered under the split cards, I think. Yeah. The only one I can think of is the one that lets other players help you pay for it, but no one will do that. Yeah. What's something that makes an insane amount of mana for less than 4, like Selvala? Well, we can't run anything that costs less than 5. This is where I added the own cost reduction and interesting big creatures, because I was like, well, I guess I need to get something with all this Cascade. I guess, yeah, let's look at the original. Let's look at the version of the deck that you have. Whoops. Where is it? 30-minute Cascade. All right. What are the different cards that I don't have in this version? So, more, compare, Moxfield Link. All right, so these are the cards that you're playing in your version of the deck that I don't have. I would be inclined to play what among here? Probably Gilded Lotus. Like, maybe some of these ramp spells. Because, like, hey, we need to have more mana to get higher up anyway. I don't think Tameo does anything I want. Telling this on 5 also doesn't seem great. Thrix is a big possibility. So our stuff costs less and can't be countered. Storm of Saruman is also whatever. Spitting. This one. If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead add counters to this. You do have this thing. That's fine. All right, let's add that. Geode Golem. Sure. Earthquake Dragon. Nah. Titania's Command. 2 land. So it's Primeval Titan. No, we don't need that. Go get 2 basics. Meh. For 5. Create a token that's a copy of a creature. Nah. What does Froggy Myth even do? Deal combat damage to a player, exile many cards from the graveyard. Nah. Enters, create 2 foods. Oh, I also haven't looked at mana value is whatever or greater cards, like Brineland. So, back to deck list. With mana value, blah, or greater. With mana value greater. Conduit of Ruin, Imoti, Jin Gataxias. Whenever you cast a non-creature with mana value 3 or greater, draw. Exile and return. Activate only if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. No, Zul'Doc doesn't work. Karuga we got. Gandalf, Westward Voyager. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with the spell, copy that spell. Share a card type with that spell. Copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card, otherwise you draw a card. Blech. Nope. Cultivator Colossus is dumb. Well, that depends on how many lands you've got after this, but yeah, sure. We've got plenty more things to add. I'm more interested... I think we've got plenty of, like, payoffs, is the thing. I'm more interested in cards that we can cast for cheaper before we actually get up to like the point in the game where we've got tons of mana. And I don't know what else we could have from there. List of MTG mechanics. List of Magic the Gathering keywords. Is this up to date? Where's the actual MTG wiki? Mechanics, here we go. List of unreleased, deprecate. No, I just want all mechanics. All keyword mechanics. How do I find that? Keyword abilities. Aha. All right, so here's all the evergreen stuff. Now we're looking for any abilities that allow you to cast stuff either for an alternative cost or cheaper or anything like that. Okay. Cycling, we did that one. Echo, no, that's not it. Kicker is the wrong direction. Madness? We don't have any way of discarding stuff, so Madness doesn't work. Like, same thing with Flashback. Morph. Morph will do it. All right, we want Morph or Cloak or Disguise, and Manifest always manifests other stuff, so one of these. Evoke, we did Evoke already. All right, Morph. So we can morph it for 3 and then unmorph it to do something. But like anything that morphs for a whole bunch of mana, we don't want. We want something that unmorphs on the cheap to actually do something relevant. Where's the sorting it? Okay, EDH rank. I know already a couple off the top of my head that we're gonna add. When it's turn faced up, put 2 time counters on it and it gains Vant. No. There's 2 of them that unmorph to... Wait, what? Oh, no. The ones I'm thinking of actually have a mana value of less than 5. That's why they're not showing up here. Yeah, alright, never mind. So Morph was a bust. What else? Amplify, Provoke, Storm, Affinity. We did Affinity. Entwine, Modular, Sunburst, Bushido, Soulshift, Splice. Offering, Ninjutsu, Epic, Convoke, Dredge, Transmute. I don't know that Transmute actually helps us accomplish anything. All it does is lets us go and find another card, but we can't cast anything yet. Bloodthirst, Haunt, Replicate, Forecast. I don't think any of the Forecast cards are good, but let's just see. All right, this was literally the only one, and it sucks, so let's move on. Graph, Recover, Ripple, Split Second, Suspend. We did Suspend. Vanishing, Absorb, Aura Swap, Delve. We didn't do Delve. I actually didn't do Delve. Oh, also, I didn't have Prismatic Vista in here earlier because we didn't have enough basics, but now that we do, Prismatic Vista. So, Delve. I'm not going to run Treasure Cruise or that kind of stuff. Target opponent mills 9. Although the odds that we can actually delve any of these in the first, you know, what are we going to have? Like maybe 2 fetch lands? Target opponent mills 9, then you may cast instant or sorcery without paying for it. Nah. Alright, none of these are going to work. Delve sucks. I'm really, really sorry, but it's 2:30 a.m. here in the UK and I gotta get sleep for work, but I love what you're building. Perfect EDH craziness. I'll check out the link in the morning. Very well. Good night, sir. Hope you enjoy the deck when you see it all finished tomorrow. All right, back to keywords. Aura Swap, that's not going to work. Okay, Fortify, Frenzy, Gravestone, Poison, Transfigure, Champion, We don't have anything cheap enough to go off of. Emerge is also not going to work. Changeling, Evoke, Hideaway. Prowl, Reinforce, Conspire, Persist, Wither, Retrace, Devour, Exalted, Unearth, Cascade, Annihilator, Level Up, Rebound, Umbra, Infect, Living Weapon, Dying. We looked at Miracle, Overload. That's going from cheap to expensive. Unleash, Cypher, Evolve, Extort, Fuse, Bestow. I really doubt Bestow is going to have anything of relevance, but let's look at it. All right, literally 0. Tribute, Dethrone, Hidden Agenda, Outlast, Prowess, Dash, Dash? Maybe. Although Dash is not even in Simic, right? Yeah. Renown, Awaken, Avoid, Ingest, Mirror, Surge, you have to have teammates or have cast multiple spells. Emerge, we have nothing to emerge from. Melee, Crew, Fabricate, Partner, Undaunted, we did that one. Improvise, that's not going to work. Assist, obviously no one's going to help us pay for our stuff. Mutate, we have to have a cheap creature to mutate onto, that's the problem. Although I guess technically we could run Dryad Arbor, so. Yeah, mutate, what do we got? Nothing that I would want to run a Dryad Arbor to play. Ninjutsu? Yeah, Ninjutsu doesn't do anything here because we don't have any cheap creatures to... but again, we could have Dryad Arbor, hypothetically. Ninjutsu. Neither of these are good. We did Foretell. Demonstrate is just copying it. Completed. I don't think there's many options for that, right? Yeah, it's just those two. Blitz. Blitz is not even in our colors, right? Oh, no, it is. Blitzing for 4. Enter, put 2 counters on stuff. Yep, that's a no-go. Ravenous, Squad. What is Visit? Prototype did that. Free running, we have to have our commander, so that doesn't work. All right, yep, that's it. That's all the cheapos. That's every one of them. The hell is Space Sculptor, for that matter? Something from Infinity? Yeah, it's Jace the... Hell is it called? I think I can actually find it even with these. Space Sculpt. Oh, it's not going to be EDH legal because it's an Acorn card. Set UNF. Really? Jace. Planeswalker. Space Bellerin. That's what it is. And it has Space Sculptor. You don't know this ability? Divides the battlefield into alpha, beta, and gamma sectors. If a creature isn't assigned to a sector, its controller assigns it to one. Opponents assign first. Alright, so as far as I can tell... Oh, it's Raging River? Yeah. As far as I can tell, I can't see us having any more, like, cheapo stuff, so the other option is... Like, if you guys know of any other cards that have alternative costs that we can pay for, what have I not searched for? I've searched for rather than pay, I've searched for without paying. How's Allosaurus Shepherd worded? Rather than pay. Instead of paying? You may cast blank for... You may cast this spell for insert thing. How is Verdant Bounty worded? Verdant Mastery. You may pay blank rather... Oh, they're all rather than pay. Yeah, okay. Blue Verdant Mastery. What does that one even do? It just draws cards, right? Mastery. That one's 3 mana, though, technically, right? You may cast this card for... Okay, yeah, so that's reminder text, so it's not going to show up there. I can't think of a single other mechanic or phrasing that I could have that would make it so that I would be able to have, like, the cards that you can cast for alternative costs or cheaper. What is it? It's less to cast. The one thing I did, I said less to cast for each, but technically they could be just less to cast. I guess we could just keep adding stuff. Thrix. Chimel. I guess this is technically protection and ramp, sort of. Not really, I wouldn't say. All right, let's see. Into the story, but that's still going to cost a whole bunch. Let's say it has to say, just to clean this up, it's got to say either its own name or it has to say this spell or this card. All right, well, that didn't clean up that much. Reach instant sorcery in your graveyard. What else do we have? Discontinuity. Only doable during your own turn, though, so I don't see how that helps us. Targets a permanent you control. So most of the time you're just going to have a land and that's it, so that's not good. It's bargained. Still costs 5. Draw 3. It costs 2 less if you have Delirium. No. You control at least 2 creatures that share type. Also no. Alright, so yeah, there's just nothing. So, I don't know. What are we missing at this point? I could probably go up another land. We need to consistently hit lands, and we need lands for all the land searching and stuff that we have, so there's that. We've got plenty of, like, big bombs that should win the game, hypothetically. I guess Omniscience and one with the Multiverse. Could also just have Craterhoof in here. Why not? I don't think I put Terastodon in the deck, so Terastodon. Anything else? I suppose I haven't just looked up cards that cost between 5 and 6 that just do something. So, rare. Yeah, I guess just costs between 5 and 6 and is a rare. What are the best cards that we can play for that cost? How many card draw spells do I actually have? Plenty. All right. Seedborn, I don't think does anything. Already have Sphinx. Ugin can blow stuff up at 6 mana, which matters when it comes to, like, if our opponents are staxing us out. So it might be just a requirement to have. It's fine. We can have that. I didn't look at MDFCs. I didn't look at MDFCs. What does the other side of this even do? Each player looks at the top 5, reveals a land, instant, sorcery, puts the card into their hand. Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at MDFCs, guys. How did I not do that? EDH, ID, blue and green. CMC is 5+. Is MDFC. Okay, yeah. We've got this one already. This one's just a land. We have Jadzi. What does the other side of this thing do? Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return it to its owner's hand and scry 2. Meh. And then there's the lands, and then there's this thing that's also a land, and then there's this thing. Is that really all of them? Huh. Alright, well. That was a bust, I guess. Throne of Eldraine, add 4 of the chosen color, spend only to cast monocolored spells. That's basically Gilded Lotus, so Throne of Eldraine. We have Bane of Progress. Search your library for up to X basics, where X is the greatest power. No. Tezzeret, no. I suppose cards that cycle just so that I can draw more and try to hit more lands are potentially fine inclusions. I previously didn't want them, but like I just skipped all the cycling cards that didn't do something when you cycled them. So maybe this is fine. Just as like, hey, we just need to draw more, just like something to do. Cycling, CMC greater than 5. And priority goes to the ones that cost less to cycle. So we have Lorien revealed, and I think that's there's Lorien and Tanuki, and that's the only ones, right? Shark Typhoon's all right. I don't like that it doesn't do anything when you cast it on its hard side. Ent for more lands is not really what we want to be doing. And there's this thing that's a draw 4, which I don't think drawing is also a problem. So then there's cycle, cycle, cycle. I'm more looking at things that cycle for 2 or less, that are things that I would want to some extent if I were to cascade into them or just be able to cast them regularly. I don't think any of these things are ones that I want to do that with, though. When you I missed this one. When you cycle or when you cast or cycle it, create an Eldrazi spawn. Absolutely. Drown Yard Lurker. How did I miss that one? Drown Yard Lurker. Thank goodness I went back and looked at that. Basic land, cycling, cycle, 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 cycle. All right, that's fine. Isn't Decree of Silence pretty decent? Did I skip over that one? Doesn't that one cost a lot to cycle? That's the thing, Decree of Silence. Yeah, the problem is the cycling cost is 6. I'm looking for things that cost less. I'm looking for things that I can cast on 4 or less mana. Or activate on 4 or less mana. Oh, what about, rather than this, let's look at ones that say either onto the battlefield, so cheat stuff in, or without paying. Because if we can go from 5, if we can go 5 mana, cast this thing, get something else that's way more expensive for free, then that's pretty good. Portal of Phyrexia is also a decent payoff. Portal. So is Ugin. Portal to Phyrexia. Ugin, the Spirit Dragon. Last March we've got... So there's like Natural Order, but we obviously can't use that. What's the other one? Dramatic Entrance. Does it put a green creature directly into play? From your hand, I believe, is what it does. Oblivion Sower. Don't want that one. One more creatures you control deal combat damage for proliferate. Oh yeah, Karn. Karn liberated. That is removal. This is also removal. The rest don't really fall into any specific category. Except this, which is essentially ramp. So let's just do that. All right. Oh yeah, Submerge. We can actually play that. That is a way of interacting early. It makes for a pretty crap Cascade hit though. It also itself is only 5 and therefore does not Cascade. Wait, we didn't find Submerge when I looked for it without paying? How is it actually worded? Or did I just overlook it? Did I just like completely overlook it while I was going down this list? I guess I must have. I still think we just don't want it. Maybe that's wrong. Yeah, we're playing the adventure guys that do the same thing, so sure, Submerge. So Vault Stampede's all the way down here, right? Even though it's really good. This creature attacks at the top X. Where is Dramatic Entrance? Does it not fall into the Oracle text that I have assigned already? Possibly. Cast this. If you dealt combat damage to player this turn with an assassin or commander. Yeah, okay. There's dramatic entrance. So this one requires that we have a pretty substantially powerful green creature in our hand, and I think the only one I would be really happy cheating in on 5 without anything else is Nyxbloom Ancient and... where's the other one? Nyxbloom, and there's one other one. Did I put Terracodon in here? Yes, I did. Terracodon, maybe. Mainly Nyxbloom and Cultivator, I guess, would be okay, depending on how many lands there are. And Galta would be the other one. Where's Cheats? Yeah, Galta Stampede Tyrant. So I don't think we want it. Anyway, we're only 1 card away from finishing. What did I have in considering? I had more, basically just lands, yeah. I guess I also haven't specifically looked at lands that do the same thing, so... Like, Boseiju and Odawara are the obvious ones. Are there any others that do that? So if I say type land channel, it's only going to be these 2, right? Yeah. What other lands can discard? Yeah, nothing. Let's do... Ulamog. So we have a way of shuffling our stuff back. And then that gets us to 100. All right. This one was quite the struggle because there was such a huge deck building restriction on what we could include in the deck. So, yeah. We have a bunch of card draw. We've got a whole bunch of ramp spells. Tons of lands. Bunch of bombs. What an interesting and weird deck. I guess in this deck, this thing is kind of a ramp spell, right? Like, that's essentially what it is, so... I'm just thinking if I can tag any more of these, but there's stuff like Thrix, for example. So technically this is ramp because it's making things cost less, but it's 5 mana. But at the same token, Gilded Lotus is 5 mana, and I would consider that ramp. So sure, let's say Thrix is ramp and protection because it makes your stuff uncounterable. And then I would not count Nyxbloom Ancient as ramp though. Cultivator is sometimes card draw, or ramp, but like not reliably, and then all the other cards are just like weird cascade stuff or Kodama, which bounces things. So I don't think they cleanly fall under any category. All right, well, so that was the, where did I have it? The Imoti build. Let me go ahead and link this in the chat for anybody who wants to pull this up on their own. So Imoti. All right. That was one of the most fun deck building projects I've ever done because it was just so, like, it was so difficult trying to keep the deck building restriction of the mana values in line. Did I mess anything up? It should be, yeah, 2 and then immediately jumps to 5 and above with a bunch of lands. And then 2 islands because you do want sometimes islands to go fetch, and we want 2 of them because we have some double blue stuff. And if you're getting to Omniscience and you haven't found another blue source, I don't know what to tell you. But technically, how many blue sources are in the deck, right? It's 2 islands. It's Breeding Pool, Trop. And then there is Otawara, if you haven't ditched it. Rejuvenating Springs. What does Talon Gates do? You can filter, I guess. And is that it? So 7. I think we actually have to fix that. That's too few. All right, I'm going to... So it's 7 blue sources, if you don't count Cavern for our commander. And Lorien can go find one. So it's 7, 8... Let me count this again. Oh, no, did I undercount this? Let's see. So it's 1, I'm not counting Cavern, 2, 3, fetch lands count, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, that's fine. 21. How interesting. So the ramp, if you don't count Gilded and Throne and Thrix and Ugin, because those are not really. So that means this is 12 plus Temporal Mastery, so 13 cards that we can cast early on to try to get us ahead in terms of having more lands in play. And then there's also a few random scattering of other cards that we can play early, like Young Blue Dragon, Baluna Gatekeeper, Submerge, Sword Coast Serpent. What an interesting deck. So remember, this deck was originally built by Merc1987 in the chat, so applause to you, Merc. This was a really interesting idea, and it took a commander that I've seen Imoti before and thought he was interesting, but I had dismissed him as being something that wasn't like able to be built around. And well, look at this. We were able to build around it. Anyways, it's been 8 hours of streaming. My throat hurts. I haven't eaten. I'm gonna call it here, and then tomorrow we'll come back with more of this stuff. So a bunch of people asked for more decks to be built, and in particular, Hutter asked for a critique of their Brea deck, Vogelvade asked for a critique of a Histarian, and Edaman asked for a critique of just whatever deck I could pull up on Architect. So come back tomorrow with this list ready to go. So I'll see you guys then.